Wall Street just doesn't get it. I don't think Wall Street understands Tesla and just overall electric car technology. And because once again, I watched a quarterly report and a Q&A, and which I thought was not that bad at all. And all of a sudden, I see Wall Street just completely craps out and goes like, "Oh my God, we're gonna run away from Tesla." And I feel like it happens almost every time. They almost always react the opposite of what I think the common sense would be. And by the way, when I say Wall Street, I'm talking about investments, right? Investments that are maybe not super long term, but definitely long term. Now, I know there are short sellers, which by the way, I think should be completely illegal. I know there are day traders, which also I think they should just kind of try their luck in Vegas. But overall, I feel like most people, especially corporations and banks, they invest long term. So I'm surprised how they react to, what happens with Tesla to its earnings results, and it's just almost like the opposite of it. If it was like, I was thinking, oh, by the way, before we go any further, my imaginary attorney tells me to tell you that none of what I'm saying in this video, or ever really, should be taken as a financial advice. In no way I am a financial advisor, and this is just my opinion. So sign here. Yeah. Well, I was just thinking, like, if there was ever like a movie that's done, about Wall Street versus Tesla, I would prefer that Wall Street is played by someone like Clint Eastwood, right? The older guy, cranky, who doesn't really want to change. He's set in his old ways, and get off my lawn, right? Well, though this week is probably not the best week to make that analogy, because speaking of Teslas on people's lawns, I don't know if you've seen this, but and this is a true story. Some dude with his Model 3 parked on someone else's lawn, not kidding, like right this, and then ran his course to some stranger's house and left for 12 hours. That happened today. So probably somebody who works on Wall Street. Like that would not surprise me, right? Anyway, so we come full circle. Yeah. So let me get it. I have like 5 things on my list that I think how Tesla is being misunderstood every time by Wall Street. And I think these are the 5 things that are actually the future of the company. And this is why I think it's just ridiculous what's going on with the stock, especially in the last couple of days. Let me know if you agree with this. I mean, I definitely just kind of want to get it off my chest, because it's been bugging me like every time. So definitely get into the comment section. I'll get my therapy, so everybody wins. Let's get this group therapy session started right now. Welcome to E4Electric, your #1 source of unbiased electric car news. If this is your first time here, go ahead and click on the subscribe button that's parked right there on the lawn of this video, and that way you won't miss anything moving forward. All right, so this is the history of Tesla stock. Doesn't look too bad at all. Back in the day, I actually, before I started my channel, I did make some money. I think I bought it for like $99 and sold it for $250 and whatever. So I did good with the Tesla stock, but at that time I really thought that it's just gonna keep going. I just wanted to buy a house, so I got out, and plus at that time my channel was kind of picking up steam, and I thought that would be a conflict of interest, which it is, to own stock in any of the companies that I actually talk about. So let's talk about 5 things that I think Wall Street completely misunderstands, and we're going to start with the unstable genius, Elon Musk. And somebody called him unstable genius. I was like, what a great way to actually describe this guy, because without him there's no Tesla. Without Tesla there is no electric car revolution. So he is absolutely 100%, #1 leader of this community. But at the same time, he does a lot of weird stuff that doesn't always help him or Tesla. And a lot of times it's on Twitter. We remember this one, and there are quite a few others. But think about it. If any other CEO would have tweeted this out, stayed, and the board did not remove him or her, that stock would just plummet, right? But no, not with Tesla. Not a big deal. But at the same time, when Elon goes like, "Hey, I'm gonna launch a huge fleet of robotaxis, and people will be able to make money without even being in the cars, and we're gonna own this, and don't forget there's Uber and Lyft that's worth billions and billions of dollars, and we're gonna do it much better, bigger scale because we make these cars." Everybody goes like, eh, you know. Now, granted, it's not going to happen by the end of this year or even by the next year like he promises. But whenever he promises something, he shows up much later. But when he does show up, he shows up with stuff under his arm. He's the amazing stuff. So I don't understand how Tesla announces this while showcasing a pretty substantial improvement of the autopilot, and then everybody goes like, yeah, well, it's going to be in a few years. But wait a second, isn't that the reason to invest in the company that's not only doing better and better with every year, but also is expanding in this whole new market where other companies have made billions of dollars, and they have to pay the drivers, right? So I don't quite understand. And the best part right now, and this is why the last couple of earnings calls were kind of boring, is because Elon is actually grown up. Elon is actually adulting. He's behaving like a real CEO. I absolutely love his last couple of performances. Very scripted. Actually, in the beginning, it was very scripted. Very calm, not making big promises, not answering questions that are trying to get him to say something, outrageous. Loved it. So this guy is actually behaving like what Wall Street wants him to behave, and me too. I mean, I do like his more stable genius that he used to be. So this I do not understand the reaction of Wall Street to him. But let's move on to the second one, and I can't even believe I have to say this, but Tesla has a by far superior product. They just do. There are many other companies who've tried it, right? And Audi e-tron is on the market, decent car. Porsche Taycan is going to be on the market. Unfortunately, it's not going to look anything like they promised or have a charging rate that was the biggest feature. Chevy Bolt's been on the market for a while. They don't seem to want to sell it. Nissan Leaf, too close to Tesla Model 3 base price. Not a bad car, but lacks a lot of things. Kia Niro EV, which I probably one of my most favorite Tesla electric car in the market, and it's kind of a sister car, Hyundai Kona EV. Well, they've all done well, but they're nowhere near Tesla, and all of these brands have a lot of money. Definitely have a lot of money, definitely have a lot of pull, and a lot of know-how, while Tesla is tripping over their own, like, oh, we didn't know that you have to drive the parts to the distribution center rather than having everything centralized. Oh, we're going to learn it in 5 years. These car companies know exactly how to operate and how to run stuff, and they're just not able to compete with Tesla at all. I mean, and on the same level. I think there was an article. I think an article comes out almost every week where somebody says, "Whoa, Tesla is really ahead of everybody." So and of course now the question is over demand. How do people really want to buy Teslas? Well, wait a second. Is there another company that sells out every single model at least few months ahead, where you can actually have to wait in line for most of the orders? No, they sold out every single car they've ever made before that car was pretty much, a first layer of dust even got collected on it, which is completely that's completely the opposite of what every other car maker does, where they have tons and tons of inventory. So how is this Tesla the one that's getting a demand thing? And by the way, if you want to ask a good question about the demand, and that's another thing I've been frustrated with, is just the questions that they ask. They're so short-sighted. The question would be like, hey, I remember you told us you had 400,000 people in the queue, the reservation holders, but it looks like you keep selling these cars to non-reservation holders. What happened to 400,000 people? That if you're worried about the demand, wouldn't that be a good question to ask? Nobody asked that question. So again, I think it's a big asset, the fact that everybody loves the product, and more Teslas that are out there, the more people want to buy them, because every time your neighbor or friend gets a Tesla and you didn't really know much about it, and you get in there, you go like, holy crap, I can't believe I've been driving something different than this. So that would be a good question to ask, and of course, I just don't understand how demand is even on the mind of this Wall Street guys. All right, let's move on to another one. And this is it, I don't know why this is being ignored, but Tesla has factories that are growing. It's a growing company. And not only they're growing factories, they're growing their models lineup. They grow in their supercharger network. They're growing solar business, which I'm going to talk to you guys in just in a second. They have this factory that's been growing just within its own limits, and a gigafactory, and there's a gigafactory too, and now they're building one in Shanghai, and they're actually ahead of schedule there. Like, how is that you want a company that's growing pretty fast, expanding? How is it that you expect them to not have to spend money on this? I mean, do you remember Amazon? That company was losing money left and right for like years, and I've just actually went back and read some articles where they consistently lost money, and people were like, see, these internet companies, all they do is just lose money. And now I think they made more money last quarter, I think, in the last quarter than they made in like the first 5 or 10 years of their something crazy like that, right? Because Amazon was all about building the empire first and then ruling the world. Tesla is going in the same route. I can't believe it's actually been profitable for a few quarters. And to be honest with you, the $400 million loss when you have $5 billion in cash, how is this even noticeable? So I don't understand. How is that people who invest in the future don't understand growth? Again, comment section, explain it to me. But I'm going to move on to another part of the company, which I don't really understand why Tesla's not growing, but the energy products. Don't forget that they have Powerwall, which is like great invention, right? This is where you can store the energy. Obviously, a solar roof and solar panels that they've not been selling. I'm talking about the solar panels especially, and superchargers. That's an energy product. I personally think that Tesla should charge everybody from now on. No more free supercharging. That should be, if not profitable, but at least break even on operation. And yet they continuously lose money on this. And I don't even understand why they don't install their own power walls and power packs in the Tesla supercharger locations, because when you pay a really high rate and a lot of cars are charging at the same time, this is where you can lose a lot of money. So I don't quite understand why they're not making especially solar panels. They were number one in the US, but nevertheless, this auto company that has a line of energy products, how is that not being counted towards the future? I mean, they have a gigafactory too. They are making solar cells there. It is an expanding business, and it's just energy companies are multi-billion-dollar companies, and we're talking about just a car company that's doing this on the side. The upside is pretty big. Now, again, granted, I don't know what the hell Tesla's thinking. I don't know what the problem there is, but they're not even trying to sell solar panels to the very people who love green energy and drive electric cars. Don't get it? Throughout my 6 or 7 year of ownership of 3 Teslas that I have, not a single time I got an email saying, hey, guy, you like green energy? What we have for you is the solar panels to put on the roof of your house, so you can charge your car that we sold to you for free. Not a single time. So I'm a little frustrated with it myself, but I just don't see any, again, no questions from the analysts this time around either. Hey, what are you guys doing with your energy product? Can we expect some revenues coming soon? What are the challenges? Nobody asks that. I just don't understand. All right, so let's move on to the last one. And another thing that I think people or Wall Street doesn't get is that, Tesla is a software company. Autopilot is a software product essentially, because the hardware comes with a car, and an autopilot is a software that they sell almost afterwards. So by the way, brings me to another thing. How come nobody asked Tesla, hey, how many people end up buying the autopilot after buying the car? That's actually a very, very important question, because if people buy a car and then they upgrade to an autopilot and they pay extra, and actually you have to pay a little bit more than I think you originally would. That changes every freaking day now, but that's a free profit, right? You sold the car, you said goodbye, and now somebody says, hey, I'll pay an extra $5,000 if you push this ones and zeros, the software over the over the internet, which you already have. And that's a big business. And don't forget, there's so many other things that they can and probably will do in the future, from app store to streaming music and video services. Obviously, they started on gaming. Just so many other services that they can provide and sell, and it's all digital services. They don't have to build anything in their factory. Just got a bunch of software engineers, and a test engineers. You pretty much got yourself a product. So how is that? How is that not a humongous advantage for Tesla, and obviously something that they should be thriving in the future? But again, ask them questions about it. Like, I would like to know, even if 10% of people who bought a car, a Tesla, and then decide to give them an extra $5,000-6,000, that's a pretty big achievement if you ask me. And again, I can refer to other cars that are on the market right now or coming up. There are a lot of electric cars that they might have a software upgrade capabilities, even though not all of them do, but they have no plans to use it. What are they going to be upgrading? The UI, I just don't see them leveraging that. But Tesla can. So all of this is definitely, I think all of this is absolutely indicates the bright future for Tesla, and I just can't wait for them to finally catch up with their own sort of ideas, dreams, and hopes. Now that Elon kind of came down, and I hope he won't be promising too many of those in the future, but in the next 2 or 3 years, I mean, Tesla can just rule the world unless the rest of the manufacturers get their stuff together. But I just don't see them doing it on the same scale. So, yeah, my blood pressure needs to come down. But I don't know. I just been very frustrated with this because I didn't think the Q2 results were that bad. Actually, they were very encouraging, and yet one of the biggest drops in one day in Tesla's history. So I don't really get it. Where I would like not to see a drop is in my Patreon following. So please do contribute with our Feed It YouTuber program. Only $5 a month. By the way, people think that this is kind of a donation. Actually, it's not. You get to see me live every video that I take pretty much, and you also get interact with me. I never not reply to any of the comments and messages here. So just FYI. But if you maybe don't have the kind heart that I hope, I still have something else for free for you, which is getting on our VIP list, which is our weekly newsletter. We're just about to prepare the article, the bonus article that we send out on Saturdays. Something that just doesn't fit on the YouTube channel and on the e4electric.com website. This is just an extra bonus article, and this week it's pretty cool one. So subscribe to that, of course, for free. There's a link in the description of this video. Other than that, see you guys next time, and remember to stay charged.